every day. See him FaceTime.
Oh, they're at home.
Yeah, one Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi, four Mississippi, five, and then because we say moment of silence and barely, and then we're right after like, yeah, I like. If it was up to me, I'll keep everybody sitting there 30 seconds, a moment of silence. Who's that?
My neighbor.
Holy mackerel! Why are we getting hit with all this?
I remember when her family came up to us. And
You got 30 seconds.
was it like a medical in there? Because, yeah. Okay, so they're just now saying it's going to be a dentist office.
It was one of the things that they could just do outright.
Down. Just wait.
All right.
Denise.
Is it time? Oh, I didn't even notice the clock. Okay, I just want to figure because I'm like, I thought it was like, no, there's three. I don't know, I just couldn't remember which.
Wait. A lot of places you would never see it again after market no tree done, but
Got it.
they like to see everything a bunch of times too.
Got it. Thanks. Sorry. Sorry, we had a couple more minutes. That's not the first time that would happen.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 18:30 at this time, 6:30 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. May we all please stand for a moment of silence and a reading of the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chair, before we go any further, since we didn't get to do this last meeting, I'd just like to introduce our new senior planner, Tom Grims. So he's going to be taking over for me in the meetings now, and I'm going to be doing my CRA stuff. So, you know, and I think you already met Sarah. Next time you'll probably get to meet Raylene, our other new planning tech. So if you need anything, contact Tom or Sarah or Raylene, and they'll be glad to help you.
All right, thank you.
I'm still available if you guys need me for something, but.
Got it. Agenda review. Anybody have any issues?
Looks good.
No.
Nope.
Joanna?
No.
Down, please. Eat your treat.
Public comments.
Minutes.
Go.
Eat your treat.
Oh, that's right after
Here.
that. Public comments. Public comments are for people who are here who would like to discuss anything that is not on the agenda. I do ask if there are public comments that you keep it to 3 minutes at this time for items that are not on the agenda. Anybody here who wishes to speak to anything regarding anything that is not on the agenda? Going once, going twice. Moving on. Minutes. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, or issues regarding the previous minutes from August 4th? Nope. I do not have either. May I please get a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion approve the minutes from August 4th, 2025 as written.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I'd like to just preclude everything we're about to do here is I could tell there are a lot of people who are going to be here, have questions, issues, or concerns about the items being proposed. I do ask for everybody to understand to try to not be repetitive on your questions or concerns or issues so we can move this meeting along. And we do and can put limits on time. I'll be watching that from time to time. I'll potentially give a little bit more time for you guys to speak, but we are limited to 3 minutes. If not, we'll probably be here all night. All right, moving on to item number, let's see. Yep, commission discussion and action items. Item number 2, please.
Item 2 is Resolution 2025-17, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Minneola, Florida, granting a special exception use permit pursuant to Chapter 102, Division 12, Section 102-343 of the Land Development Code of the City of Minneola, Florida, for property generally located east of North Hancock Road and north of County Road 561A, Minneola, Florida, allowing for the development of a convenience store with fuel operations, providing for conditions, providing for recordation, providing for an effective date. Because this is a quasi-judicial hearing, anyone who wishes to speak tonight has to be sworn in. So if you would raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Say, I do. Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. For the record, my name is Eric Rosh. I'm here in my capacity as a contract planner to the city. I'll be giving the staff presentation this evening. So as mentioned, this is item number 2 on your agenda, the Hancock and 561A special exception. I'll run through the location of the project. I'll talk a little bit about the background. There are some entitlements associated with this property that do have some history. I'll speak to the applicant's request, and then I'll conclude with just a summary and recommendation. So the location of the subject property is going to be east of North Hancock Road, the extension, and southeast of Del Webb. So also north of 561A as outlined on your map here on the screen. So I also just wanted to add some context to the map. You can, of course, see Del Webb under construction there on the north side, but there's a lot of additional development that's already been approved for this area. You can see there's a self-storage site that's been approved immediately to the east of this. You've got 2 open space tracts to the south within the Hills of Minneola PD, and then the city's new future fire station is shown on the bottom of the map. And then to the west, you've got the Minneola Ridge project. So there's a future townhome site, further to the west, and future single family. Then south of 561A, you've got future multifamily and a future commerce park, which has some lighter industrial types of uses that have been approved. So, just wanted to make sure to provide that context overall for the area. Oops, sorry. This one's within the Hills of Minneola Plan Unit Development. Long history of Hills of Minneola. This is just under 3 acres in size, but Hills of Minneola is a much larger project, as you can see. It was approved originally in 2006, and this parcel was called Parcel K. It was a portion of Parcel K, and it was designated for high density. There was an amendment, most recently, it was amended in 2019, and it was designated at that time Area 1, Pod 3. And it was designated as a commercial tract. I've tried to highlight it on the top of the screen there to the right. You can see there's 2 commercial properties that were previously approved within the hills at the intersection of 561A and Hancock. So the applicant's ask today is for a special exception for a convenience store with fuel sales. The convenience store doesn't require the special exception. It's the fuel sales that do. They're proposing a 4,852 square foot building with a 35-foot maximum height, maybe less than 35 feet when we get to site plan. The access is from North Hancock, as you can see on the screen. They're also proposing a cross access to the self-storage site to the east, which has access to 561A. In terms of parking, they're required to have 24 spaces per code, and they're proposing 26. These are the criteria that are in the code that we're bound to review special exceptions by. It's in section 106-2, and there's 6 criteria. The first is traffic and access. It shall not adversely impact adjoining properties or public safety. Number 2 is pertaining to off-street parking, loading, and service areas. Essentially has to be consistent with what's otherwise typical in the district. Number 3 is yard screening, buffering, and landscaping. Has to be consistent with the character of the district. Number 4 is the size, location, and number of special exception uses. The idea here is to limit the number of those types of uses within the area. Number 5 is architecture and signage. And number 6 is public services have to be available to serve the development. So we evaluated this request consistent with those criteria. The first is traffic generation and access. They did submit a traffic impact analysis. We provided comments through our sub-consultant on that on August the 12th. And I believe those comments made it into your agenda package for your review. The applicant will need to revise and resubmit their TIA. And then also Lake County indicated that some off-site improvements may be required. So that came through the Lake County reviewer. So that's an outstanding issue that will need to be addressed prior to moving forward. Number 2, off-street parking, loading, and service areas. All of those are proposed per code. The parking exceeds the code minimum. We did note that they may need to reconfigure a couple spaces near the dumpster to prevent some of those conflicts if the gates to the dumpster are open. But otherwise, they're code compliant in terms of parking. Number 3, yard screening, buffering, or landscaping. They are providing the required 20-foot perimeter buffers around the site, so that's consistent with code. And additionally, there's a 30-foot buffer within Del Webb between the Del Webb stormwater pond and the subject property. So there's about a 50-foot buffer proposed before you get to the first developed property in Del Webb, which is a pond. Number 4, The size, location, and number of special exception uses. We noted there are no gas stations in the immediate vicinity, and they're also compliant with the location and size criteria found in section 106-2G, which requires any fuel dispensing stations to be greater than an acre in size and located on arterial or collector road. Both of those boxes are checked with this request. Number 5 is architecture and signage. We are going to require some revisions at the site plan stage. They need to comply with both the Hills and Minneola design guidelines and the land development code. So any recommendation this evening, we would request that you require them to do that at the time of site plan. And then public services, we didn't receive any objections from Public Works regarding the ability to serve the development. So just the outstanding staff comments, we still need that revised traffic impact analysis. That's going to need to be reviewed by staff prior to finalizing this recommendation. The architectural elevations are going to need to be updated to be consistent with the Hills and Minneola design guidelines and the code. And then the last comment from Lake County, please note that off-site road improvements such as left turn lane on 561A, the proposed access driveway, will be required. With that, that concludes my presentation. Available for any questions, and I believe the applicant team is here as well. Thank you.
And
Thank you. I got no
just to
questions.
make you all aware, and so that everyone here is aware, I believe all the emails that were sent in, even the ones sent in today, were included in your package in the item called objections. So I just want to make everyone aware of that, and then that way if they don't want to have to speak, but they want to make sure that they were heard, you did get the emails that we received.
Yeah, I could tell, I'm aware, and I could tell by the color shirts they're going to be it's going to be very passionate here, so.
I printed them all out.
One question about the traffic study.
That was good.
It's being revised. When are you going to have one? Because I don't think 561A can stand any more traffic than it already is.
It's a great question. I'll defer to the applicant because the ball is in their court on the revised traffic study.
All right.
But good question.
Applicant?
Good evening, Chairman and fellow Commissioners. My name is Jonathan Hewells. I'm with the Lowndes Law Firm at 215 North Eola Drive, Orlando 32801, and appreciate the opportunity to come before you today. And before I answer your question, just wanted to thank Mr. Roche for that presentation. In terms of the revisions to the transportation impact assessment, we received those comments in August 12th, and they're currently being addressed by the transportation engineering team. We anticipate getting those comments back and satisfactorily addressed by city staff or accepted by city staff before taking this request to city council for final review and action. So tonight, really, what we would do here is concur with the staff recommendation, acknowledge the work that's left on the TIA, and that will be completed before City Council. And we're really here to really listen once more to what the community has to say, what you have to say as the Planning Commission and the Recommendation Board to City Council. We have received all the comments that have been submitted in writing. Joyce has done a good job of sending those to us. We have reviewed those. You'll see me over here taking notes as you all provide feedback, and as well as hearing comments from the community that's here. And we do know there's significant interest from the Del Webb community. We know that through this item coming before City Council just on a discussion basis last month. There was a fair amount of folks out, and then the project team also conducted a standalone meeting with the Del Webb community 2 weeks ago, and also solicited comments and feedback at that meeting. But once again, this is part of this process where there's multiple reviews, multiple opportunities to provide comment. We want to sit here and listen, and then our plan is to take back everything we hear, including from you all and whatever recommendations or conditions you might have, and really determine what we can do to accommodate the items that can be accommodated. Obviously, there's some comments of well, we don't want this project at all, that's a hard accommodation. But if there are reasonable changes and modifications that can be made, we're looking to make those and incorporate those into the project before it would come before City Council. We do want to continue with the process, though, and continue towards that final City Council review, but obviously very interested in anything you might have. So our team is here to answer questions. Kinley Horn, Derek Ramsberg, who's the project engineer, and I will do our best, but really, it's going to be a lot of note-taking, I think, tonight. With that, I'm happy to answer any other questions between Derek and myself.
My left to right? Bill?
Not yet, I'll come back, something.
Parking spaces that exceed the code, is there a plan for that at this time?
So the code minimum, I believe, was 24 spaces, and that's just based on the square footage of the principal use. And we exceed that minimum, so that's a minimum floor, and we're right now showing on our site plan two spaces above what that minimum would be. And obviously there have been some conflicts. We're going to look at that and tweak the plan as necessary. And you know, the plan may change a little bit more depending on what we hear tonight and if there's something we can accommodate through additional changes. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Dave Yeager, 2750 Purple Meadow. I live in the Del Webb, and I also do stuff with the P&Z board. I guess I'm baffled. There was a discussion item with the council, and Del Webb had a meeting with the developer, and they come here to get more information. There's no more information to get. The fact is that it's probably, Mr. McCoy, it's probably a little early for that site for a gas station. But they should have the answers to the tests that we gave them at the last meeting, that things that need to be done if that's the end of the day, that's council's pleasure. Again, your recommendation board to go forward. We heard everything from there were 7 fatalities. Well, verified for the city and the county, there's never been a fatality there. We've had accidents there because when the lights were flashing and then they changed to stop, people didn't see it. But it's kind of premature or baffling to me that they don't know how we feel right now. And as far as environmental, I've been doing environment for 30 years. Most of your environmental spills at gas stations are at the pumps. There's double wall construction tanks, and all that's not even an issue. But again, I'm very baffled that we had the discussion item at the council, we had the meeting with all the Del Webb residents, and we're going to get more information. I think it was pretty clear that we gave them a lot of information. You would think tonight they would say, okay, you know, we looked at whether we could put a right in and maybe a right out on 561A so they wouldn't have to go to the top of a hill and do a U-turn. So again, very baffled. We gave them the answers to the test, and they came here to just sit here and listen to more answers that they already know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Clinton Pownell. I reside at 14205 Hunters Trace Lane. That's the first subdivision of property that's adjacent to this property in question for the special exception use permit for a convenience store fuel operation. We've lived in our current home for 25 years. I've been in the area since 1992. We are part of the Ferndale Local Services Boundary Area, the LSBA, an area shaped by joint agreements with the surrounding cities, including Minneola. Many of you also know me personally. I'm a business owner. I have an engineering degree from UCF, so I've been here for a long time. I have 4 specific issues with the gas station. The first and primary is safety. Access requires left turns, U-turns. It's a dangerous intersection at Hancock and 561A. Already it's a little sketchy, but it's going to be even compounded worse. It's a high bike and pedestrian area. There's major cycling, triathlon events, kids riding bicycles. There's plans now to continue the multimodal all the way through Hancock, which means these kids are going to be crossing the road and have to contend with all this. And I'm very concerned with the safety of the children crossing, but as well as the hobbyists that are cycling on 561A. It also is going to add congestion, and most concerning, again, it poses a significant accident risk. and especially for the children in the area, and especially for the Hills area, not so much in Del Webb. All the homes in the surrounding area, this is my second concern, is the environmental risk. All the homes in the surrounding area, with the exception of the Hills and Del Webb, and that's including west and east and north and south, are on well water and septic, including myself. The EPA reports that more than 516,000 leaking underground storage sites have been cleaned up nationwide. The previous speaker, Mr. Yeager, can attend to this, and as he said, he did lots of cleanup. There's over 57,000 that are still unresolved. That's in the nation, 57,000. Let's divide that by 50 states and see how that gets to Minneola. There's even a small leak can contaminate hundreds of thousands of gallons of water, of groundwater. We, like a lot of in the area, have livestock. For us, it's horses. And a fuel spill here would permanently destroy our drinking water. Additionally, many of the homeowners are like me and are banking their retirement on these homes. And a fuel leak or any contamination results in our home, the property values being destroyed. Finally, Minneola itself puts itself in a Minneola itself pulls its own drinking water supply from less than a mile away. That's right on Sugarloaf Mountain Road. Both the EPA and Florida DEP have wellhead protection standards because even a single leak could compromise municipal drinking water. Approving a 24/7 fuel station so close to public water source is a risk the city should not engage. Third, community impact. The proposal is for a 24/7 fuel station, and we are seeing firsthand just in the city next door of Claremont what 24/7 brings: crime, noise, and light pollution. Minneola has no dedicated police force. A convenience store and gas station are incompatible with the residential and agricultural area. Most residents, too, including my wife, have organic gardens, several raised chickens, and freely give away the organic vegetables and eggs. And fourth and final, there's no need. The proposal, even if it is a convenience store, is not convenient for the residents. It adds no benefit except for an eyesore, and it jeopardizes the safety of the community. And for the health, safety, and future of this community, I urge you to deny this permit request. Thank you.
Kevin Carey, 20237 Sugarloaf Mountain Road. Brad, do we have that slide presentation? Okay, so just a few things in reviewing this for the board. Item 2, the first item I wanted to bring up is that the special exception, parts A and D, say it's not really impacting properties in the area. As Clinton mentioned, there are people that are there on well water. One of the homes is within 500 feet. It has a wellhead located less than 500 feet from the proposed gas pumps. Per Florida Admin Code 62-761-500, there are certain requirements that need to be followed for gas tanks that are within 500 feet of a potable water well, which they do. So I'd like to see maybe when that comes back as the official plan that is shown how they comply with those rules. And as you can see in the close-up photo here, that's the well that's in question right now. The plan view that's shown, as the county had said in one of their comments, there are turn lanes that need to be added to the plan. That is not shown on here. As you can see, some of the count data that I put on the screen there, during the AM and the PM peaks, you're gonna have 138 vehicles turning left according to their traffic impact analysis study, so there aren't any turn lanes there now. But if you look at where the turn lanes need to be, the red indicates what the left turn lane needs to be based on their numbers. The green shows you the westbound left turn lane going on Hancock, as you can see, they conflict with each other. You can't physically put the 2 left turn lanes there unless you do some significant widening in that area. So something to be considered with the addition of the gas station there. And then one of the items here is the garbage truck layout for the plan view. It seems like it's a little odd trying to squeeze it between the pumps and the garbage containers in the back. They should maybe run it around when they come back for P&Z for the plan view. And I think that's all I had on that one. Yeah, so there you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill, you got any questions right now?
No.
Not now. Anyone else?
think I'm a little shorter than your previous speakers.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chairperson and Commissioners. My name is Cindy Owens. I live at 2819 Purple Meadow Court in the Del Webb at Minneola community. I want to thank you first for the opportunity to speak tonight, and I would like to share why I believe the proposed convenience store should move forward without a gas station. First, eliminating fuel pumps protects our community's character. A standalone convenience store can still meet the residents' needs while maintaining the welcoming village-style atmosphere that we're all used to here in Minneola. Gas stations with their bright lights, their canopies, and constant traffic often will clash with that small-town charm all of us have grown to love about Minneola. In fact, 7-Eleven operates many successful convenience store-only models across the United States, several of which I live near in California. So gas isn't necessarily essential to be at that location. Second, as someone already commented, the environmental risks of in-ground fuel tanks are high. Across the country, there's been tens of thousands of leaks that have contaminated soil and groundwater, with cleanup costs reaching millions of dollars. And many of our residents do live on that well water and groundwater, and your own city pulls water from that. And that could likely impact the quality of life for everybody living in this city. Third, gas stations generate significantly more vehicle trips than a small convenience store. And this would impact the traffic and safety for those living out in that area, as well as those traveling through for work. The proposed right turn exit onto Hancock Road, followed by the U-turn at Del Webb, Minneola, creates an additional hazard and will likely increase traffic accidents in that area. By denying the fuel pumps proposed by 7-Eleven for this location, we can minimize congestion, noise, and safety risks for both drivers and pedestrians. Fourth, a convenience store without fuel means less lighting, less noise, and fewer late-night disruptions that will have a lower impact than to our quality of life if there's no gas station allowed there. Finally, the hours of operation of the convenience store itself should be limited. The residents out there don't live and are awake 24 hours a day. A respectful time frame of, say, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. for serving the community would decrease the attraction for crime in that area, which would greatly improve our living out there. So in short, we can welcome any new business out there without taking on the long-term effect of traffic and safety burdens that a gas station would create, as well as the environmental concerns. I respectfully ask that you consider supporting a store-only model that better reflects the character and values of Minneola. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And definitely taller than the previous speaker. Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity to speak tonight on this issue. One of the things I want to start out by saying is we recognize this is zone B1. We have no heartburn with B1. What we have heartburn with is this 24/7 gas station being there so close to a residential community. You heard some talks about the traffic a bit, and I just want to reiterate that. People are just inherently, I'm not going to say lazy, but they're going to want to take the shortest way back to where they want to go. And based on I could figure, because it wasn't in the traffic impact analysis, is we would see anywhere from 55 to 100 people come up and do a U-turn right in front of our main gate. And unfortunately for Minneola and us, they approved that to be one entrance only to this community. So if something happens there, we're locked in our community. If something happens there, we can't get police and fire there. If something happens there, we're just out of luck. So we would ask you to think about that as a big thing that happens to us. As somebody else talked about, you come down the trail, people don't bother to stop before they go across that trail. They stop when they get to the street. So people coming down on bikes, kids, people walking, whatever, they're at their own risk, because if they're not watching out for it, I can guarantee you the driver coming out of the gas station isn't looking for them. Crime, we've heard about that. Crime, you even as a city have identified that these things produce crime. So you require additional things that be done in order to mitigate that. It doesn't prevent it, it just mitigates it. So I would ask you to again think about that. You're coming to a residential community, you're less than 500 feet away from it, you're bringing in things that'll bring crime in. People are going to maybe just walk across the street across that and then go into some houses over there because that's convenient for them because it is a convenience store. What can I say? Robberies and so forth. We talked about property values. Regardless of what we think otherwise, people look at that and they say, do I really want to live next to a gas station? Is that the quality of life that I want to have? So it's going to impact everybody up there. We saw that they said there's all these different things, but you are at the gateway to Sugarloaf Mountain. You've created this wondrous street that's going to go up through Hancock and it's going to go back into all these nice homes back there and everything else. And what's going to be the sign that says, welcome to Sugarloaf Mountain? It's going to be a 7-Eleven sitting there on the corner. I don't think that's where we want to go. Noise, traffic, I don't care if you've ever lived near a gas station, and I have, unfortunately. People pull in there, whatever time of the night they pull in there, they do not turn their radio down. They don't care that they're booming out whatever it is, and neither does the gas station because they make sure that the pumps that have the advertisements on them are louder than the guys that are sitting there in the car pumping gas into their thing. So all those things just create a whole big problem for us. So noise and light pollution we've heard about. Yes, I know you can do dark sky lighting. You've talked about doing dark sky lighting, and that's really great. I appreciate that because that's great to not have all that light pollution. But by the same token, you have this dichotomy because you want to have sufficient lighting to reduce crime. So you have additional requirements in there on lighting to reduce crime. And if you look at the layout that they gave us at their meeting back on a week ago, if you're coming down and looking down from Del Webb, you're looking straight down the throat of the exit onto Hancock Road, which is just going to be a straight light for all that. So we've heard about all the other things on environmental. I'm not going to give you that again. I've put a lot of stuff in writing before as a thing. But what I want to reiterate is that we're not against commercial development of this property. What we are against is a 24/7 gas station less than 150 feet from our property line. That doesn't make any sense. And I would encourage this body to think about in the future having something, some standard by which they come back and say, well, we're not going to allow gas stations with 500, 600, 750 feet. I mean, the words out there would be between 500 and 1,000. So I say, think about anything that is 750 feet from a residential area probably isn't warranted. I thank you for your time and hope you'll reconsider your decision on this tonight. Thank you very much.
I have a question for you,
Sir, you need to state your name and address, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Dwayne Mike Smith, Captain, U.S. Coast Guard, retired, 2767 Purple Meadow Court, Del Webb, Minneola, Florida, 34715.
I do have a question for you, and then I'm going to ask the audience a question as well. You clearly stated that you're not opposed to commercial on that site. I was looking at your map. So from my understanding, your main entrance on the left-hand side and right-hand side is designated for some kind of commercial activity. Is that correct? And everybody, when they purchased there, understood that. Is that correct?
That is correct. I don't know about everybody. What I'm going to say is, yes, we were aware that those two properties were zoned commercial down the bottom. There's been a sign there for a long time. What our
Hold on. I'm going to ask for a raise of hands here in a second.
What at least on my side, what the issue that I run across in talking with the people in the community is not that you want to put a coffee shop in there, you want to put a doctor's office in there, you want to put a nail salon, you want to put things that would support the community in a sense where something we could walk to and use and be a, that's not been an issue that's been raised back to me. So I understand, yes, my wife and I.
Because you said we, that's why I was trying to see if you're speaking
Well,
for
I do, and you can take at the last meeting, somebody had them say, raise your hand if you don't want a gas station. I don't think there was anybody that didn't have their hand up. So we didn't ask the question, I don't think, about how many people want any kind of commercial there. But I personally, and the people I've talked to and dealt with, recognize that there is, in fact, that was zoned B1. And that was not as much of the issue as has been this thrust that people have been coming to me about has been that it's because of a 24/7 gas station, because some of us have actually lived near this and
Understood.
found that to be it.
All right, Joyce. Joyce, I got you. Let me ask, I'll come to you.
Okay, yeah. So it was not just that it's 24/7.
How long has this location, the two locations on either side of their entrance, essentially been zoned commercial B1? Do you know?
Well, so remember, originally this was supposed to be high-density, like multifamily apartments. In 2019, it was changed and zoned less dense with commercial instead. Now, remember, next door to this, by right, with the developer agreement, they have the right to put in storage for recreations and trailers and mini storage. And that's, you know, gonna go in there, so it's not just, you know.
I understand, I just want to get the
Right.
time frame. All right, so
And
my
there's-
question,
There's one on the other side of the entrance too, another commercial entrance.
all right, so my question here, please raise your hand. Who here knew, when you purchased in that community, that there was going to be commercial on either side? All right, thank you. Who didn't know? All right, thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Make sure nobody throws rocks at my back here. I'm going to be the one in support. Paul Milton, 19546 Sugarloaf Mountain Road, Clearmont, directly across the street from Minneola. I hear the arguments. I see the red shirts. I don't own one. I support it. We need something there. It's, you know, this is one community. You're mostly retirees. I work for a living still. I'm out every day. The Circle K that Clearmont has at the edge of Minneola right now, we're, I don't know, at least 10 minutes from it right now on a good day. At the hospital, the Walmart that I might have heard about earlier, the Publix, all the other intersections, that becomes 15 to 20 minutes. I think it's going to happen. You know, councils do what brings the money. Do the right thing with it. Don't try to, you know, can we avoid putting a 20-foot sign in front of it for the light pollution that Del Webb's throwing down on my 20 acres across the street there? I get to look at all the twinkling lights. Maybe I don't see a 7-Eleven sign 50 feet in there too. Put one of the low ones that they have over in College Park and areas where they have those restrictions, if we can enforce those. And that should go hopefully across the board with any kind of planning and zoning stuff that we do in Minneola, hopefully. The 57,000 odd gas tanks, I'm sure that's an accurate number. I'm sure half of those are probably installed before. Yes, it's an environmental hazard. I get it. We're on well too. You know, so be it. I'm not really that concerned with it. It's going to happen or it's not. We've got runoff from hundreds of what? How many thousand homes in that area now? 3,000 homes with all your cars dripping oil down the road. The runoff is happening. Our area on Hunter's Trace and Sugarloaf is not what it was before. So that stuff's going to happen. Do the right thing with the building and the infrastructure that supports the building. Do as much as you can to put the screws on them to do the right thing about how they do it. And then if it happens, it happens as far as that goes.
Thank you. And my apologies for minute-wise, for the minutes. I just want to put on record the majority of people here raised their hands saying they did not know that commercial is going to be on the left and right-hand side. I need to make that correction right there. Yes, sir, go ahead. Go ahead, please step forward. And
There's a gas station from that intersection 4 minutes away. Perhaps you should go to Mount Verd, because there's one right there, which, by the way, is the one that I've been using.
The interactions with us, not with the public.
Which is the one I've been using for 25 years.
Thank you.
It's been extremely convenient.
Gentlemen, the interactions with us between you says you take that outside, but not in here, please. Go ahead, sir.
William Graham, 2602 Del Webb Drive, Minneola, Florida. Specifically asked the question about who knew what the commercial zoning was. I did know. I specifically made a phone call to the Planning and Zoning Department of Minneola, and I asked the specific question, B1 zoning, does that allow a gas station? Before I made a purchase decision. And I was told, B1 zoning does not have that. You would have to get an exception and a variance for that. And that was critical in my personal purchase decision. I want you to know that people are aware and we do check. Secondly, and this is something I wanted to address to you all, I had the privilege of attending the county council meeting last Tuesday, where the council voted to approve a gas station, a shopping, a grocery store, and a liquor store against the majority of the audience's wishes at the intersection of 27 and Sullivan Road. One of the issues that was brought up by one of the council members was that we have to have development, and we need to be, this is good development, and we need to be careful what we wish for, because something worse could come than a grocery store, a gas station, and a liquor store. And I want to stress to you and urge you, please do not make decisions based on fear. Because if you make decisions based on a fear, you're gonna make the wrong decision for the good of people. Fear itself is not what you should vote on. Something good will come to that intersection. Something much better than a gas station, a 7-Eleven that's 24/7. I promise you. The value of land in Minneola, in the Hills area, is very high. It's not going down. The cost of construction is very high. It's not going down. The only thing that might change is an interest rate, but that's questionable. The economic reality is something that's going to get developed there is going to have to be a high value to make it financially feasible to work. Don't approve a gas station based on the concept of fear that something else might be worse. It was brought up that it might be a coin-operated laundry, a finance store, a tattoo parlor. That is hogwash. Those things won't economically fly with the cost of that corner. Hold on to that corner for something good and valuable for the city of Minneola.
Bill, you're still quiet, you know, ladies?
Good evening, council members.
Okay.
Actually, you're the planning committee, I'm sorry. Yes.
No worries.
My name is Carol Lex, and I currently live in the Del Webb community. I live at 1621 Evening Summit Circle. I'm here to voice a strong opposition to the proposed 7-Eleven convenience store and gas station at the corner of SR 561 and North Hancock Road. This is the only entrance to an exit for a neighborhood of 800 homes, which will be 800 homes in Del Webb, along with another 400 homes that will be built by Lennar. Placing the gas station at this choke point creates a dangerous mix of residential traffic, school buses, delivery trucks, and constant fuel tankers. It will increase congestion, block emergency access, and put our residents at risk every single day. Beyond traffic safety, we must consider the long-term risk. 7-Eleven's former CEO has acknowledged how difficult it has been for the company to shift away from its reliance on gas distribution. In fact, I have a firsthand experience in Minnesota from 7-Eleven's leaving that state. 15 years ago, they abandoned stations that remain boarded up and blighted to this day. My former city, Wiper Lake, is still stuck dealing with these properties that no one wants to redevelop because of contamination and cost. Minneola should not inherit that same problem at the very entrance to our community. A gas station is simply the wrong fit for this location. Instead of welcoming Gateway, we'd be marked by fuel pumps, 24-hour lighting, and traffic hazards. Our city deserves a higher standard of development, uses that add long-term value, not short-term profit and future blight. I respectfully urge you to protect the safety, character, and future growth of Minneola by rejecting this proposal. And I know you will make the right decision for all of us. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Can I ask one thing, please? Everybody who speaks, please make sure you have signed in with the sign-in sheet on the rear also, as well as stating your name and address when you speak. You can do it when you leave or whatever after you speak. just please make sure we have to have it for the public record. Thank you.
Ron Lux, 1621 Evening Summit Circle at Del Webb.
Evening, sir.
I want to make a comparison to the 7-Eleven that Carol talked about a minute ago. That 7-Eleven sits at 2491. If anybody wants a pencil to check it out, it still stands today at the abandoned place. It stands on a county road, and it's in the city of White Bear. And so it's got also probably state rules, federal rules. The point I want to get at, 2491 County Road E. You look at the picture on Google, you'll see boarded up windows, and you'll see 3 dead trees on the property. It would not, and we live just a few blocks away from that. Our yard couldn't get by with the way that that property is. But, so who controls it? And I think I'm a little aware, so it's on a county road, so is your 7-Eleven that we're discussing today. The business my wife talked about, it's not such a good business when it's trying at the moment to be taken over by Circle K for all the 7-Elevens in the U.S. That's currently going on. That business is dynamic. Who knows how that ends up? But the building, take a look at it, 2491 County Road E, the comparisons to the site that we're talking about this evening and the site that we lived next to for lots of years, decades. And the different names, anyway, it's still standing. So who controls that? And I'm a little aware that the city can say, this is just an example. The city can say it's not our problem, and I'm not criticizing the city. It's a great city of White Bear Lake. The county, so do you go to the county? Well, you guys are the ones that are starting this discussion tonight. That brings us up tonight. Just look at 2491 County Road E. Just study that site and just see what it's like to this day. And we live blocks away, about 4 blocks away from that 7-Eleven gas. That started as a 7-Eleven, and it probably started just like what we're doing tonight against it. But 7-Eleven wants to build there, and just take a look at what our 7-Eleven is like that we lived with for lots of years. I'm all done. 2491 County Road E, White Bear Lake, Minnesota. You'll see nice pictures on the map of who controls what. You're just talking about construction. No, there's a plan down the road. If things don't pan out, you'll see all the stories that'll line up, because I know a lot of the history of that place. It just is still standing. Nobody can make it work. It's just an eyesore. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody here, because obviously a lot of people are red shirts, but would you say there's one person who is the chorale leader of the whole group that potentially talked to the developer in regards to this? 'Cause I'm assuming that the applicant had a conversation with the residents potentially to try to mitigate problems. Is there anybody who kind of put that in consensus, kind of like the leader of the group here by any chance?
I'm going to say I've been the focus for a lot of discussion here, so I don't, I'm happy to step into that role. We've had others, Mandy, Morgan, and others that have been involved as well, but they've been out of town right now, so.
Understood. This is, I want to just get a consensus on that. Sorry, ma'am. Just, I'll give you 1 second, please.
Again, it's Dwayne Mike Smith at 2767 Purple Meadow Court, Minneola, Florida. Yeah, so I'm happy to step into that role, unless somebody else back in here wants to pick it up, but I've been the one that's been pushing many of those things up. Just one last thing. Our last speaker was talking about that abandoned gas station. I would just ask, this council more likely is aware, if they ever drove down 27, of going past Hooks Road and seeing the Chevron station that languished there for years and years after it had quit being a gas station, because it's so hard to redo those properties, repurpose them once they become a gas station. So the point that particular individual, Mr. Lux, was making is a really valid point. If something fails, what's the outcome for many years to come afterwards? Because nobody wants to buy an old gas station site. Thank you.
Sir, I got a question for you, sir. You've been the contact person for the developer in
We were here at the developers meeting, that's correct. And it was a very interesting meeting. The developer was great, and they said lots of platitudes. They didn't really answer any questions. They didn't really offer up any solutions. They provided a view of what they had. When asked if it was going to be a company-owned store or a franchise operation, they of course said company-owned because they always start company-owned. They didn't say that they'll probably turn franchise. But later, when asked if they were going to have another gas station anywhere else near here, they said no comment, but we now know they're putting one in down just over on 27 in Sullivan or Ovino, whatever road you want to call it. So we found them to be, at least from my perspective and those I've talked to, not to be necessarily forthcoming, holding their cards close to their chest, and I don't blame them for that per se. It's just we didn't see them come in and say, bang, we're ready to do some big changes. All they said was, well, we're going to comply with the architectural standards that are required by the city. We're going to require by the buffering standards required by the city. We're going to require by the lighting standards required by the city. We're going to require meet the noise ordinance required by the city. It's just like whatever you've said is like, hey, whatever they give us and say that we can do, we're going to do. So
was it,
happy.
have these meetings been offered up to the community or
It was
just-
offered up to the community, and we met here, 5:30 it was 5:30 p.m. I think it was, but it was last week, about a week ago, and that was after the discussion session with the council. The mayor suggested that we needed to have that kind of a meeting. It was offered up here, and you had a fairly good turnout for that. I don't know, it wasn't quite as strong as this, but pretty close, probably about 75 members of the community that showed up for that and raised issues and so forth. I think you heard one of the other speakers here talking about, they've had a lot of information, a lot of input from us as to what our concerns were. And Mandy Morgan was more the focus on that particular meeting, but she's out of town now, so I've been standing in for her.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, are you still interested in speaking? Hold on, I'll let you get, the lady that stood up and she sat down, are you still interested in speaking? Can you come forward? He took it? Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, sir, you can stand up if you have a question or comment. The one with the hat back there.
Nathan Landers with the applicant, developer, 4440 PJ Boulevard, Suite 600, Palm Beach Gardens. I just wanted to stand up here in case you guys had some questions. Yeah, we had an initial meeting which was requested to meet for the discussion item at City Council. After that, we also had the neighborhood meeting workshop. So again, we've reached out to the community multiple times to try to understand where they're coming from, what their interests are, and kind of how we can help tweak this. Again, it's a moving process, and as the gentleman stated, we are going through the appropriate permitting processes right now. We're aligning ourselves with that. We're doing our due diligence. We're doing the traffic study. All this stuff is a continuation. Again, we're just right now in front of P&Z here. So again, we're trying to listen to the community. And also, again, trying to, there's reasons why this is a particular location is desirable for a convenience store gas station. It's an evacuation route. There's a fire station going in there, and everybody here in Florida drives. So again, and then as far as addressing the comments about the environmental, all those cases are old. They're prior to the new standards of the dual lining fueling tanks. I would definitely ask Dave here, since he's right on top of it, to do his research and understand what today's requirements are for that, since he was so baffled by everything. But again, I'm here to answer questions if we can. But again, we have reached out to the community and are trying to address those things as we continue on through this process, and trying to find if there is an avenue for us to, again, find the right solution that everybody can support for a gas station convenience store at that particular location. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
The applicant.
Applicant,
Or applicant rep.
Yeah.
go ahead.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Obviously, somebody's not doing anything correct. All these people here that have the same concerns that you did a month ago.
Their concerns are that they're not interested in the convenience store or gas station. It's not a matter of being constructive. We're interested in constructive. We're happy to try to accommodate that. However, if your interest is just no, there's nothing we can do. We're happy to address that. We're happy to try to find a way through, and we're continuing offering that. We've had 2 meetings, 2. So again, we are listening. It's just a matter of whether or not they are. Again,
Quiet down, please.
One other gentleman talked about fear. Fear is everything I hear about here. Your fear because there's environmental spill. That's not a factual situation. The FDP has updated that information. If you research that, you'll understand that contamination does not come
I
from
ask
underground.
that the public remain quiet. If you want to speak, you come up to here, okay?
Your fear and the fact of crime, there's no information about that. If you put any type of commercial that's going to have the same outcome as what we're talking about doing, there is fear is what is speaking to them. Again, we're happy to listen. We're happy to try to address it. And the reason, again, we've talked to the other community. They're one community right here, but there is a need, as the gentleman over here stated earlier, for a gas station convenience store in this general area. So that's what we're trying to accommodate. And also I want to clarify, this is not at the community's gates. Their entrance is further up here. This is at a intersection of a county road.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll allow 2 more comments, then we'll ask the applicant or the representatives questions, and then we'll bring it up to the commission.
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm Andrew Scher, 1616 Evening Summit Circle. Really have a couple quick questions. And really, maybe not directly to you guys, but to those guys. We came here 2 weeks ago, and we gave you feedback. You asked for it, we gave it to you. We asked specifically that we did not want gasoline. Have you answered that question? Have you addressed it? The answer is no. We're going through the motions of a vendor pretending to be listening to us. They're just going through the motions. We asked, if you're not going to eliminate the gasoline, change the design so that the fueling stations are on the other side of the retention pond. Have they even responded to that? The answer is no. So if these folks want to have a conversation with our community, we invited them to. Now it's time for them to act on the recommendations and the feedback instead of just ignoring the community and doing whatever the heck they want to do. So no more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you move the microphone down a little when you speak, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for Carol Lux, 1621 Evening Summit Circle. And one gentleman brought up to me and he said, picture a 7-Eleven up there in that Florida, you know, that your state. And anyway, it's not funny. We're not afraid. And the young gentleman should listen to his elders wherever he is, because we learned a lot during our lives here. And I've got examples of 7-Elevens failing, okay, or gas stations failing. You see them here. We're not fearful. We actually put in, and we said our growing neighborhoods, and this is the letter that I sent to you. Our growing neighborhoods would benefit far more from small-scale retail, such as coffee shops, local dining, medical offices, or wellness-related businesses. If we have to put businesses there, not a lousy gas station. Sorry about that. We all need gas, but you want to add convenience without imposing the noise, traffic, and environmental risk of fuel. So please, please, make a good decision here, and don't throw us out, because we're not afraid. We just want a good decision. And I know from your former mayor how positive he's talked about you. I'm impressed at how he actually said that you would make the right decision. Are you the mayor? But anyway, I really, really hope you make the right decision. And whatever these young people say, we know. We're old, okay? Thank you.
All right, I'd like to bring this before my fellow P and Z. Do you have any questions for their staff?
I'd like for the developer to come up. A lot of complaints about the project. What have you done?
So how we're approaching this project, and to be candid, when this item was brought before City Council last month was when it was known for the first time that there was going to be significant community interest. So we've been hustling for about a month now trying to get as much information as possible. What we did not want to do is piecemeal changes to try and play whack-a-mole on trying to adjust the project, only to find out that that wasn't the right direction to go. We settled upon, especially after the community meeting last week, is we wanted to get your input too. We did hear from the community. You know, obviously, I could state for the record now that it's not a consideration for the project to drop fuel. If that was the case, then we wouldn't need to come before you all, and we wouldn't have to come to City Council. There wouldn't be no negotiating, because a convenience store, a 24/7 hour convenience store, is permitted by right. We can go right to site plan, and we can have a site plan approved for that. But that's not the project, and that's not the intent. I'm sorry that hasn't been communicated to the community, but fuel is still a part of the development program. We are looking at potential design changes, including shifting the buildings, shifting the pumps. That was a comment. I think it was reiterated several times at the community meeting. That happened last week. We didn't have time to finalize any plans or to determine that they were actually feasible, because there's a lot that goes into site plan, not just drawing it on the back of a napkin, but you have to look at topographic gradient, how much fill it takes to fill a site, and if you fill it too high, then you cause all sorts of problems off-site. So we're studying that now. I should have reported that. I apologize. In terms of off-site improvements, we very much will be required to do off-site turn lanes into the project through Lake County's review and approval of the access permits that will be required for this. So while it might not have been reflected on the site plan that was part of your staff report, and I can appreciate the confusion it made with community's review of that, I can put on the record now that we're absolutely putting turn lanes on. And we're looking at other buffering potentials for this project to be as cohesive as possible with the community.
What kind of buffering?
There's enhanced buffering that can be with landscape plantings, and also potential fences or walls around the adjacent boundary. We're also looking, like I said, about shifting some of the buildings to remove them, get them as far away as possible from the Del Webb community. But I don't want to present that now because I don't think it's feasible. And we haven't received your all's feedback as well, which is important in this process. We didn't want to make wholesale changes only to come here to find out they wouldn't be satisfactory to you, or you had a different vision. Like I said, what we're asking for is, you know, if there's a path forward here, we'd want your recommendations with whatever conditions you would deem appropriate, and we're going to take that under consideration, do as many as we can, and then circle back up with City Council on where this project is in terms of design and operation. So,
Other than just that intersection at 561A and Hancock, what's proposed for 561A period, if you know anything?
So 561, well, there'll be a left turn. Is that a east approach? Yeah, come here, Derek. I'm gonna bring Derek to the party. Derek's the project
Traffic
engineer.
guy?
He's our civil engineer, so he knows site design. He can walk you through.
Derek Ransberg with Kilmy Horn Associates, 200 South Orange Avenue, Suite 600, Orlando, Florida. And sorry, could you repeat?
In terms of explain the access points and the various improvements off-site, on-site.
Yes. So we've had pre-apps with Lake County, Seth Lynch, the Public Works Director. So we've had meetings with him. What we're gonna do is we'll have a full access onto County Road 561. So what we're gonna do now is, because it's gore striped all the way across, so what we're gonna do is put a transition break in there, so there'll be a left turn into the site, a right turn in, right turn out, and a left out. So it will be full access, but we're gonna break that about a 400-foot long left turn lane, queue length into it. So that's the one entrance, that's full access. For Hancock, it'll be a right in, right out currently. So we've heard public comment about making it a right in only. It's not something that we've taken off the table. It's something that we're still trying to analyze, because it does have to be agreed upon with Lake County as well, because Hancock is going to be a thoroughfare for connecting bigger roads to each other. So we do need to have that right out potentially to be able to get people out onto it. So yeah, right in, right out, and then a full access.
561, I mean, either you know, or just somebody educate me just in case I forgot something. In general, 561 is going to be improved by Lake County, is that correct? As in widened, from my understanding?
Correct, yeah, as the development and obviously the impact fees, all that stuff come onto the table, it will be widened, but our project will be an interim condition
Correct.
to support our additional traffic.
Thank you.
I thought 561, or it could not be widened any further, that these roads are, because another project I had spoken about, the traffic study that said that these roads will be at capacity. And they are, like, 455 is a scenic highway, cannot be expanded. 561A, how much more can you expand? Because then is it going to be, I thought you could not. So does that agree?
That's what I was asking.
There's
that question.
potential for it to be expanded and widened as well. And that's, I mean, will be through developers agreements as we go forward, but in Lake County's purview.
Brad, can you bring up the site plan for them, please? The PowerPoint?
That was one of my concerns, too.
Kevin, do you know? Sorry.
Thank you.
Is there going to be any type of county improvements to 561 in general expanding?
No, not that I've ever heard of.
Okay.
That I've coming up, but. Hey, I am not a resident of Minneola. I am not representing them. I'm here for P&Z. I'm an advisor to P&Z. So don't boo me. I am just here to give my
Well, I think that this.
All right.
Supports get claps.
You got questions, more questions?
No, I'm not, pass it.
Close the, okay.
No, I didn't,
Say
no,
again?
I'm just asking if he had more questions, because I kind of wanted to jump in before I forgot that thought. Ladies?
I mean, this is what I had, based on the traffic impact analysis.
I had questions on this
The
one.
red indicates the left turn lane into the gas station. The green indicates the left turn onto Hancock. As you can see, if it sits at the current position right now, the two overlap. They don't fit unless you significantly widen 561A. So that was my only point as I was trying to bring that up, is that there is a conflict there.
No, thank you. Okay. So, once again, that's in Lake County's purview. We are going to be made to make a left turn lane. As part of that, in order to accommodate that left turn lane, if that road width needs to be widened to bring down the through eastbound lane, then that would be a developer's obligation in order to accommodate that turn lane in. And we could put that on the record that the turn lane's going to be required if and Lake County's not going to approve something that's not going to meet their standards. Anyone that's ever done any work in Lake County knows it's a very reviewed and process, and they don't give much accommodation or leniency to not meeting their code.
Thank you. Good, ladies?
I have nothing.
Well, besides, like I said, I'm worried about that because, from what I understand, it cannot be widened. So it really, that is one concern of mine. In addition, when at the discussion group, I was in attendance, and Kevin brought up about the wells, so it got my curiosity going. Within that area, to me, the gas station at that location does have environmental concerns. Just on a medium, I did some research here of how many parcels including vacants, including trailers or whatever, and houses, you're looking at about 220 different parcels. Assuming that it's like 2.5 people inside those parcels, you're looking over, 300 residents could be affected by this gas station being there, and that does create an environmental risk, not to mention what Kevin and Clinton spoke about on their safety concerns. I didn't realize that there's a close to public, that Clinton had brought up about the public water being so close within. Would a gas station be nice around this area because of the rapid growth? Yes. Does it need to be in that location, knowing that you guys, I believe the same developer is developing within all of Hancock? Could it be closer to the turnpike, which if it is evacuation route? Does it have to be on 561A, which is limited on size? Could it be closer to the turnpike, which is the evacuation, which is a major road coming in and out that people would be?
We do appreciate your comment, and what would part of this process, if for you that wellhead protection is important, I think FDEP has set a 500-foot radius from municipal wells, which aren't private wells, but if you felt that protection criteria would be wanted to be applicable to private wells as well, and you wanted to put that condition on here, I think that's something we could look to accommodate. We received Mr. Carey's comment package today and didn't have ample time to study to see if we could commit on the record here to that 500-foot radius. But once again, if that's an important point to you and this project were to move forward, we would ask that you condition the project to meet that requirement, that 500-foot. More robust, mind you, that criteria is to be met for a municipal water source that would provide potable water to a community, not a private well. It doesn't apply to private wells, but we think we can meet that standard. If you wanted to make it a condition to this project, that's something I think we would be very much open to hopefully being able to meet. I can't state on the record tonight we can, but it's something we can certainly look at.
Got more?
I think that was major. It was just big notes.
No, nothing for me,
Bill?
thank you.
All right. From my point of view, I have the logic side and have the, I guess, the emotional side to it. Design-wise, and what you're accommodating makes sense, okay? What don't make sense is where you're trying to put it to me. I know you're well-intended. I know fuel's an economic driver for any type of convenience store there. I bring up her same concerns, and I forget your name. I think it was Clinton's concerns about the well, water, how close it is to infrastructure. And that is what I don't think it's the right place or the time for right now for a gas station there until 561 is somehow improved. I don't think it's just on the just on the environmental side. It concerns me, and trust me, I'm not no tree hugger, but I do have concerns. At the end of the day, the planning and zoning just recommends, as you know, city council could either go with what we say or say, or whatever they decide on. They do listen to us, but I know they don't concur many a time as well. So from my point of view, I'm not in favor of it.
I guess I would just only ask, if there's a way, right? We would want,
Yeah, I'm
if
gonna
it
ask
were to
for-
move forward, if we would want your input instead
Yeah.
of just a firm
No,
denial.
and I understand you're trying to accommodate. I just don't think personally, okay, from what I'm seeing, it's just not the right fit for the location. Not because of, yes, I do listen to what the residents are saying. I just don't think that's for the concerns that brought up, not the emotional side, because no matter where you're going to put a gas station is close to home, people are not going to want it there, period. I already know that, okay? I just don't think for this specific case, okay, for the location, if you want to call it the lot, the piece of land there. I don't think it's the right location in the sense of all the other factors that are involved, okay? It might make an economic sense for y'all, you know, the driver, but for the other condition, I personally, I can't support it. But with that being said, is there anybody here who has further comments?
No more than what I brought up.
Bill?
I don't have any comments.
All right, so, anybody want to make a motion? I'd like to bring it back to the commissions here. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'm not a supporter, so I can't make a motion.
Yeah, you can make a motion. You could definitely make a motion where you say you don't approve the resolution. That's the saying you're not in support of it, essentially.
Okay, Resolution 25-17, special exception for convenience store with fuel services, I don't support.
And
Do I have a second?
you have a second.
All in favor? All in favor of the motion? Aye. No, hold on. Us, please. All in favor of do not approve the resolution as Mr. McCoy mentioned. This is for us, not for you to comment on. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I want to make a statement because, one, there's 561A has been on my mind for several years because I almost got run over on that road driving my truck. And there's so much traffic on that street, on that road right now that it's, and nothing against the developer. I know you want to do something, and regardless of whatever you put there, there's still going to be traffic. I'm totally concerned about what's going to happen, not at that intersection, but on the rest of 561A. I don't think it's a good site for any business, not just, and that's my opinion. I'm born and raised in Clearmount, seen this place grow, and it's going to continue to grow. And just like they said, something's going on that corner, whether you like it or not. I don't think it's a gas station this time, but the traffic is going to be there. Don't know whether there's going to be a stoplight at that intersection. Hopefully it will be.
There is already.
Well, I saw that on there, but I'm just saying. Right now, it's not time for me to support the gas station.
All right, I'd like to move on to item number 3, please.
Can we keep in mind as you exit to keep it quiet since we have the meeting continuing, even if you're in the hallway, to move further down? Thank you.
You be quiet. Lay down.
Good evening again. For the record, Mr.
Down.
Chair and members of the commission. Again, for the record, Eric Rosh, here in my capacity as a contract planner for the city. I'll be giving the staff remarks on agenda item number 3. This is going to be the Oak Valley Retail Parcel 2 site plan. I'll run through the location of the project, the request, and then just to wrap up with a summary and recommendation. So this one's on the west side of US 27. It's just south of
Can
Oak
you give
Valley
it a second
Boulevard.
so they close the doors?
Yeah.
Get off.
Yeah. Sounds better.
We good? All right.
Thank you.
Again, this one's on the west side of US 27, south of Oak Valley Boulevard and Citrus Grove Road. It's highlighted here on your aerial. It's part of a larger commercial subdivision that was recently approved by City Council. The overall subdivision area is 4.67 acres. It's Zone B1, and they're proposing a 4,200 square foot building, which would be a medical office. They're proposing 23 feet 8 inches in height, which is under the maximum for the zoning district, which is 35 feet. The access comes from 27, and they've got some cross access for future development. Parking, they're required to have 24 spaces, and they're proposing 31, so they are above the minimum. And just to orient you, I threw the north arrow on this slide. It's a little bit rotated from the last image, so north is actually to your right here. So you can see Oak Valley, there's no access proposed at this time from Oak Valley. It all comes directly from 27. So again, we received the application for the site plan. Includes the building, initial building of 4,200 square feet and the associated site infrastructure. And our task is to review that for consistency with the city's land development code. We had no additional comments from planning or Lake County. We had an informational comment from Public Works just to let them know that we're not going to accept any trees being planted within 10 feet of city-owned utilities. That's a maintenance concern. We had an informational comment from Fire to just let them know that they have to go through a separate permitting process for fire lines and hydrants, so that'll go through the building department. And then we had an outstanding comment from engineering. Brad, I don't know, did you get the other PowerPoint? There was a second one that had an update to this slide. There was a resolution to the engineering comment that you see here on the screen. Some concern about some off-site drainage. The applicant's committed to constructing a swale that will ensure all of the water gets rerouted back to their stormwater pond. So we would recommend the additional condition of approval that essentially requires them to construct that swale at the time of site construction for the project. So, and hopefully Brad can pull that up in just a minute so you can review the language. The applicant didn't agree to it. So that's my presentation, and certainly welcome any comments. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Kevin?
South Park?
Stop.
Okay, for the record, Kevin Carey, 20237 Sugarloaf Mountain Road. For item 3, just the comments that I had, number 1, on the plan view that shows where the turn lane is, where they show the widening, that hatched area that's in the clouding area, that turn lane doesn't exist right now. I think that should be all widening because you need to provide the whole turn lane. That just needs to be added onto the plan for the next round. The next one is on Oak Valley Road. This pipe crossing, the sanitary sewer pipe crossing, wasn't there before. Now it is now. I'm curious as to how that they're going to maintain traffic. That's one of the main exits from the neighborhood. And that pipe needs to be installed 10 to 12 feet below ground, which means that's going to be a pretty big hole that's going to be in the roadway. So I'm just curious as to why it's there, because it's just basically being stubbed out for something in the future on the other side of the road. I'm just curious as to what it's for. What it's for is probably for the development on the other side of the street, but why is it there, and then how are you going to get traffic in and out? Because the only other way out of that neighborhood is out the back. And that's where all the traffic goes in and out, trying to cut through to go through Groveland. So on a 2-lane road, how do you maintain the traffic through there when you have a giant hole in the ground? That's my main question there. On the pond in the back, I didn't see, I think the previous version had an outfall on it. This one, I didn't see the outfall when that pond fills up with water. If it does, where does the water go? I'm curious about that. The next one is the lighting for the property. You've got residential areas behind there. They do show that the lighting does get lower and lower as you go towards the homes, but that's more horizontal. You need to have a vertical calculation that shows you what the light looks like on the side of a house. There's several houses that are pretty close to that area. The light fixture that I have clouded there should have a house side shield. It doesn't. It has a photometrically limited fixture, but it still throws quite a bit of light behind it. I think that needs to be changed out to the other ones that they have there in the property. Then we have the traffic, coming to the traffic part of it, at the intersection of Oak Valley and 27. They have a statement there that says, however, the deficiencies listed above are also identified under background conditions, which are not a result of project traffic. I disagree with this statement. Development should extend the northbound left turn lane, revise the signal timings to make the improvements. As you can see, the existing is shown on the first line of each one of those charts, and you see what's highlighted in yellow as it gets worse and worse. And with the proposed development on the southbound through and the northbound left, where you see highlight like 0.99, you're basically getting the capacity of that turn lane. And that just needs to be, I think it needs to be accommodated with the design, no matter who does it. I mean, it's, the development's putting in, that's what they're showing as their projected traffic. That should be accommodated in their design. Lastly, there's a statement, and I'm not sure if it's, maybe I misread it, but I was trying to figure it out, but they're talking about the northbound left turn lane. They're saying that for the proposed, it's 495 feet right now, and the deceleration length of 350 feet is required based on 55 miles an hour based on DOT. The 50th percentile Q is 250 feet, and they're saying that that does exceed the 400, that makes it 600 feet. But then they're saying in the statement, however, the existing turn lane length is sufficient to stack the 95th percentile Q, which is 390 feet, which is larger than 250 feet for the 50th percentile Q. So I'm curious as to how the longer queue is accommodated when the shorter queue is not. So I put the calculations up there, and for what I can tell, the 95th percentile queue requires a 740-foot turn lane, not the 495. So I see it both being exceeded. I just need that clarification on, is that just a misprint, what have you? It doesn't read correctly to me, and maybe just a miswording, but just a question on that. But that's all I got.
Kevin, is this the corner that we discussed before at Oak Valley?
Yeah, correct. That was before it was a Starbucks, and they had an entrance. Brad, you want to bring that back up again? Thank you.
Had an entrance coming from Oak Valley, right?
Yeah, they had, where's the laser pointer? So right here was the entrance they had coming in here, and would come in, and this was the Starbucks right here. And then there was another building here. I think it was probably the same type of building there. That was the same
So the
same parcel.
difficulty with this was I guess, when you make a right turn into Oak Valley.
Coming Oak Valley, you had like a 20-foot turn lane to get into that entrance.
So what's changed?
It's gone. It's not there anymore.
Oh,
The only entrance is off of 27 right now. At least that's what they're showing. So the only entrance to this entire parcel is right off of 27. So with that being the case, you're going to have a lot more northbound U-turning traffic, which is slower, which is probably what's causing that V/C ratio, or the number to get higher and higher, because people are turned slower as they do a U-turn.
And
So,
I was gonna say, if he wants to help, I mean, if you wanna have an interaction Q&A right here real quick, well, because he's right there, we're gonna ask the same questions, and you can, counter.
Happy to.
Thank you.
sorry
Jonathan
for
Hewells.
beating you up so bad earlier.
No, that's all right. I appreciate y'all's feedback.
Different project.
Different project, not gas.
Yeah.
This is an,
There was a proposal for a gas station there, I think.
not in this iteration.
Not you.
There was one there before, believe it or not.
There was,
Yeah.
but not
Before your time.
and not since the current owner purchased the property.
Yeah.
So, quick history. Jonathan Hewells, 215 North Eola Drive, Orlando, 32801. Just want to say it off the bat, Mr. Rosh's presentation. We were able to work through the last kind of item that was open on his presentation today, and we think we satisfactorily resolved it. I'll go through in just a minute. Once again, we got Mr. Carey's comments today, so we're reacting kind of on the fly, but I think we can get through most of them, if not all of them. A little bit of history. Yes, this project came before both you and City Council last year on a minor subdivision and a variance. The variance was for, even though the size of each of the individual lots that have now been created, which are 3 development parcels in the stormwater tract were of sufficient size. Their actual widths were not, and so the variance was allowed to have three lots, separate lots created. We finished the minor subdivision process after that variance is granted, and now there's 3 separate tax parcels. What has happened, though, unfortunately, I think to the owner's perspective, is that the corner lot that's been created now on Oak Valley, at the intersection of Oak Valley and US 27, was a proposed coffee shop. That user is no longer in the picture. They dropped their lease. So that area is not programmed. And really, based on the feedback we received from the community on that entrance point that was proposed by on Oak Valley, just mostly driven by that user, because that is a high transportation generator. A lot of pass-by traffic, but a lot of people use coffee shops. We decided until that corner parcel is actually programmed for development, it may not be a coffee shop, it may be a similar medical use, which is a much smaller transportation generator. We're going to wait to revisit if there's an access point on Oak Valley for that use. It's going to be principally driven by that user as to that point, because if you recall, there was a lot of community interest in that entrance point and potential traffic coming off that entrance point and onto Oak Valley. So today we're just talking about the main access point off of US 27 for the proposed dental office. First slide, this is a good intro. You're exactly right. I'm not sure what plan set this is looking at, but that entire, that would be a southbound.
That's a
Southbound turn lane will
Right.
be
It's
built.
all new.
And it will all be built as
Yeah.
part of this first
That's what I
phase.
thought. That just didn't look right to me.
Yeah, so if we can, who's got the
I
control?
got a
of it?
clicker right here.
Okay.
So, yeah, sorry.
Okay, so what I've been told by our engineers is that this feature has been on all of the site plans that have been submitted for this project. Now, this is not it's not a utility line, it's a drainage line. So if we go back to the site plan that shows.
I think that in this trench, I think you've got 2.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well then, let's go ahead. So I introduced project engineer, Jordan Draper, name and address.
Yeah, Jordan Draper with Kimley Horn, 200 South Orange, Suite 600, Orlando. Yes, it is drainage and sewer to serve the future development of that parcel to the north. And understand your concerns. That's something that an MOT has not been requested to this point.
Yeah, I'm just curious, is because I doubt you're going to be able to do night work. So you're going to be doing daytime work. And with that only being about 30 feet wide or so, it's going to be really tough to do stage construction. I'm just curious how you can do it. You may have to do jack and bore, I don't know.
Exactly, and that's something that I'd like to work with the contractor once they're selected to understand means and methods for that.
Yeah, as
So-
long as if you do jack and bore, then that's fine. You keep it off the road.
And that might be the solution.
That's
and I agree with that, yeah.
Okay, and then next slide. So, Jordan, you're here for this,
he's
but
already up here.
I'll say it and then you can correct me. But this is actually, this project is considered in a closed basin, so it has the more rigorous stormwater design criteria that's applied to it. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm gonna try this. Usual stormwater design is the 25-year, 24-hour event, but when you're in a closed basin, you have to be able to accommodate 2 successive 100-year storm events. So it's a more robust stormwater design. And through those designs, and it's a dry pond, and there's no discharge from the dry pond as part of its design, so it holds back.
So it no need for a lift station there, is what you're saying?
Well,
potentially.
wet ponds always have
Correct.
an outfall, because it's just it holds a capacity and it eventually discharges, but a dry pond always recovers itself as designed for those 2 successive 100-year storm events. So that's why there's no outfall.
I'm just curious if that the pond's not that big, and so that pond is going to hold everything on that corner plus the other corner?
No.
Okay, well, that's
No,
what it's
correct.
draining to.
Correct. So we've accounted for the off-site flow coming across the street.
From
Uh,
the entire parcel?
Exactly, around an acre, I think we assumed, and set that to an 85% impervious area. So the good thing about this location is, as we all know, we're pretty high and dry here in Minneola. So
Oh, yeah, I
the water table is extremely low. It's percolating very quickly. So through infiltration, of course, that helps. And we're able to show a back-to-back storm event, maintaining the water level within the pond.
And the Water Management District will.
In St. John's Water Management District has approved this design. We have a permit in hand.
No, the reason why is because sometimes if they had to put some kind of mechanical, anything there, like who's going to be held responsible for it? And for the most part, the city doesn't want to, so they'll put it on the,
HOA.
so.
Right, and there's a declaration of easements already recorded that addresses the stormwater maintenance obligation, and if there's a funding mechanism for all three lot owners to be assessed and to pay their pro rata share of those costs. And the districts now, water management districts, are very rigorous on operation and maintenance of these ponds, in terms of the information provided and what needs to be in those declarations.
And you're being very specific on your application, like dental office, like you have somebody, a dentist who wants to build a building and work there, set up his business, is that correct?
Correct.
This is very specific, yeah.
And this is a very low transportation generator.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very, very low, almost de minimis. But, you know, the turn lane that's being put in will service the remainder. And like I said, once I think the successive site plans come in, will really be the decision for you all and for city council how the rest of the access is going to work, in terms of whether there will be an access point on Oak Valley or not.
Kevin, question. Some time ago, there was some concern about vehicular traffic in the backside of this property going to the Elks Club or whatever that club is from Oak Valley. Has that been addressed?
Yeah, and I think that was the existing condition. So as soon as we get started here, that will eliminate that issue from certainly happening again. I think it's the issue of having vacant properties and you don't have eyes, occupancy there, and people trespass and they do all sorts of things they shouldn't do. So I have not, I don't think we've gotten any other reports of that occurring, using it as a cut through to the, but that was certainly news we heard when we were here before you last year.
All right.
So good memory on that. Okay.
So we stopped at that, was
Yep,
the last one there.
sir. And you had,
So this is just one about the lighting.
The lighting.
right, and we didn't, the city code doesn't require the vertical calculate or the vertical analysis. Here, what our lighting plan shows is that it's zero foot candles at the boundary, so there's no spillover. And we would, if, you know, to Mr. Carey's point, if you wanted to add a condition to put a light shield on that one light, we'd be happy to do so, but the actual lighting study shows no spillover at the boundary. So therefore, it would be our position that you would not need a vertical analysis because there's literally zero light going off-site.
Based on my 25 years' experience, you'll see it change. So verticals don't, horizontal may be zero, but vertically can be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and that's enough for anyone to complain. So that's just, I'm making my point. It's an easy calculation to put up there and just check it. Just let us know that, hey, we looked at it. Whether the code is there or not, you guys get the complaints.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that this Minneola has a very light, not to be a
Low light
pun.
tolerance.
Yeah, they have a light a code on that. They could get more stringent, more specific, and when they mean like dark sky and go more in depth of what those type of things are, I would err on the going above and beyond in regard to the lighting issue that he's bringing up. That would solve a lot of problems on many people who live in the area.
What we would propose is to keep this project along. We would put the side shield on. We're not seeking any variance or PD condition here. I mean, we're looking I think we've checked the box on meeting what the code requires in terms of this issue. But if you all wanted to add that side shield where Mr. Carey's noted, we could make that accommodation, because that's easy.
Thank you.
Would you want that around the whole property or just the areas that are up against the residential, because they're gonna develop the other two sides as commercial?
Yeah, this is the only fixture here that doesn't have the shield on it. Everything else is closer to 27, so.
Yeah, we're happy to.
This one here has a side shield on it. This one just doesn't have any shield at all.
It's hard to see.
Yeah, we're happy to make that accommodation.
Thank you.
That's a swap.
The one that says add house
Mhm.
side.
Okay.
All right.
There we go.
Isn't there a natural buffer behind this from the community? Trees and,
There will be an enhanced landscape buffer. So what you see today, I mean, it's fairly overgrown, but majority of that will be cleared along that property boundary and replaced with an enhanced
all the
landscape.
way up to the property lines?
Correct.
to the-
Yes, sir. And there will be a 25-foot landscape buffer, which is actually, I think, 10 feet beyond or more than standard code.
Yeah, what's wrong with leaving some of that stuff in place? I mean, is it necessary to,
Majority in this site is the grading is the issue. So to fit in what we believe will be the future access point potentially for that corner user, and to make the grading work through that. Internal, yes, internal access. The fill required in that location would deem the trees not savable.
okay?
That, you're good?
Yeah.
This is the last subject, Kevin, this one?
I think so. I think these are the last two sheets.
So here, this is towards the northbound left? Yeah.
This statement here is basically talking about just the intersection operations in itself, not just specifically. The next slide talks about the northbound left. I just brought up the point that
Okay.
what we're saying here in this statement is basically saying that the existing condition we noted before we did any analysis with the proposed improvements, that there's no real increase in traffic. You went from 0.32 to 0.99. That's a pretty
Yeah.
big jump. So at least that, I just pointed out specifically. And then you go from, 0.8, which is normal for a signalized intersection, you go 0.95, and then you're going to 1.03. So
Right.
your southbound through basically fails.
And-
But it's just something that needs to be addressed.
Got it. And important context, these numbers are coming from the transportation study that was prepared for the full build-out scenario with the coffee shop. The actual transportation generating from this medical office use is much less. What I would say is we can interact on this, but ultimately, I think as the next, what I would propose is that this is relevant, but also not maybe germane to tonight, because we're talking about just the site plan approval for the dentist office. And what would likely occur, almost I'm sure would occur, is when the next of the two development tracks that are left comes in, there's going to be an updated transportation study to reflect what the actual proposed use is. It'll be cumulative to look at how much is actually being put into the site. And I would say this is the time we probably want to revisit this, because certainly none of these numbers are going to be, and I think you agree with me.
If we're just talking about the dental office, then
Yeah.
I would agree you're probably correct. But if we need to look at this holistically,
Right.
this is what ends up being, I don't know, for tonight's version, if we're just approving, we should look at the whole parcel itself, not just one building.
Well, but we don't know what the other uses are. And like, if it ends up being a complete medical plaza, it's likely, we will I am almost certain we'll be doing another transportation study for the next development tract that comes out.
As long as it comes before the P&Z,
Yep,
then
and
that's fine.
yeah, and that will be, and so we can look at this cumulatively, but all these numbers are presuming a fast food restaurant, a coffee shop in the medical office
But this
in
is
total.
what
I
I had
agree.
to review. So this is what was
I
provided,
agree,
so-
but I would just say this is more of a kick the can down the road for this one. Would you agree with that?
I would agree, as long as there's stipulation that whoever makes the motion, that with any new development, that a new traffic impact analysis study is provided and any impacts are addressed, something like that. Because I still have concerns over if we have that driveway coming in off of Oak Valley, there's no way to put it in there. We already went through that. We hashed that out. It can't be possible. That's going to be effective. So something to that effect needs to be.
Yeah, and I think that's up.
What was that, new traffic study and what?
I'd say like a new traffic study should be provided, as we discussed, for
the future development of the future track.
development.
Yeah, the remaining development tracks.
Right, an amendment to the original traffic impact study needs to be provided to see what the impacts of this new, whatever development is, whatever goes in there.
Understood.
We're good with that.
Go ahead, you got
Did
questions?
you have something to say about the lighting too, as well?
The lighting, I still think that, I know they're putting in plants and items like that, the landscape in the back, but to me, the vertical calculation takes minutes. It's not very hard. I do it all the time. I could do it with my eyes closed. It's not that hard. It takes no time to just say, we checked it, here's the sheet of paper, it meets, end of story. Just to check the box. And just prevent, I know we're meeting code by using horizontal, but I can tell you, I went out and did light measurements at night the other day, and on the ground, which is what the horizontal was, it was like 0.05. When I did vertically, it was 0.2. I can just tell you from experience that it is different. So,
Okay.
just letting you know.
I have a quick, Kevin, because I know you spoke about the buffering, because it backs up, this property backs right up into those houses. And we said, I know you said you're going at 25. Is that enough? Because I don't,
Sorry, I misheard.
the buffering,
Yeah.
because this property backs right up to those houses.
Yeah.
And I know he's given an extra, is that plenty, you think? Do we need, I know there's going to be trees and,
There'll be trees, but it just depends on how fast they grow, because they'll get the light spillover initially.
well, I assume we're going to do the, probably native and at least 8 feet, because it's usually the type of plants that buffer. I know I don't think that's in here yet, but
Yeah.
that would be because the natives grow better and faster and buffer better.
If we knew what it was, yes, I've modeled those in lighting program before too, just to see what it does. And it does create shadows, but if the lighting is at 30 feet and your plants are at 8, it's still gonna get past the plants that are at 8 feet. So I'm just more curious to just put it up there. There's only a few homes, let's just check the box and make sure that we're good. That's all. You're gonna get complaints, and it's a very easy thing to say yes or no. That's all I'm asking. So it's not hours and hours of time.
Any comments? Anybody else?
I had one more, I think.
One more?
Yeah, he's got one more paper.
You do?
I was just curious because
That's the last one. So this is the statement in the report about the northbound left turn lane. So this is the one that I'm questioning the math on this one. So maybe I'm
Yeah.
misreading it, but
Well, we couldn't get the transportation engineer wasn't able to come today. We didn't know we had questions on traffic till today, and we couldn't get them on the schedule. What I would offer to do is connect you guys and talk about this and certainly before city council, so that they can answer your questions, maybe,
that's fine.
and get you whatever information you need, because
I think the statements, it doesn't make sense. 50th is usually
Yeah.
a smaller queue than the
Right.
95th. And so it doesn't add up.
Right,
So
and
that's all I'm saying.
and from context, just contextually, both the right turn lane, the right turn southbound lane, the left turn northbound lane into that same intersection access point, that's all requires review and permitting from the FDOT, because US 27 is FDOT road, and we've gone through that exercise and have received the feedback that both turn lanes as designed are going to be acceptable to them. But we're happy to walk through this with Mr. Carey before City Council, make sure we're all on the same page
Yeah,
with the information.
I do the same thing, and that just doesn't add up.
I understand.
Yeah,
I
if
totally
did my
understand.
design, that I need to extend the turn lane, so.
I got you.
Understood. I don't think they have any more questions, but I need to open up to public comment behind you. Anybody here in the public wish to speak about this potential project, please stand up and mention your name, your address, and ask your question or comment. And thank you for your patience. You've been here for the whole meeting, so.
My name is Richard Martinez, 1430 Golden Pond Drive. I moved into this track about 4 years ago. And I noticed, in fact, a lot of people in the track also noticed how much traffic is going through that track. As you probably very well know, there's speed bumps there. And when I first heard about development in either side of Oak Valley Drive going into the track, I was concerned of that intersection as well as other people. That's not a very good place to have any kind of commercial buildings there of any kind. Bad location. I'm afraid it's going to increase the traffic through the track as well. You know, I'm not against development. We've heard the term, you know, development, but done wisely. And I think we ought to take a look at this in this particular case here. I grew up in a very small rural area with farmland. And within about maybe 15, 20-year period, developers came in and it ruined people's environment, their sense of pride, where they lived. It changed everything. I see a lot of this happening in this state also. But I'm not here really to talk about that. I'm just concerned about that particular location where they want to make the development. Again, I get fear there's going to be more traffic going in there, and there'd probably be a lot more accidents in that particular area, no matter how they redesign, how the traffic goes through in and out of the proposed development there for the dentist's office. So I would take a good look at, again, that particular location, that track, and we already have enough traffic going through it. And I'm looking at the picture of Minneola, the logo there, and it's nice, beautiful, open land there. Well, we don't want to see a lot of that disappear. You're not going to stop development. I'm not anti-development, but I want to make sure that it's done reasonably. And in this particular location, I don't think it should be done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Or I'd like to bring it to my fellow commissioner. Anyone want to make a motion?
Kevin, one question.
Kevin's got one question for you.
The, into this site, the left turn lane, where's that gonna entrance to the dental clinic?
You said the northbound left turn lane?
Right.
That would be right here. That would be this turn lane right here. Correct? So it comes northbound on 27 left into Oak Valley.
So it's going all the way up to the traffic light?
Yeah, correct.
And
Yes,
then you
sir.
have to make a U-turn or a left turn into Oak Valley and then into the,
As it stands today, the only way you can get into that development is to make a U-turn. There's no left onto Oak Valley because you can't get in, there's no driveway. There's no driveway on this side of, there's no driveway, and there's no entrance from Oak Valley into the development. You can only get there from 27. So you have to make a U-turn.
that's gonna be I'm just asking about the turn by arrow or by,
Right now, it's protected by
Chance.
arrow, yes. Yeah.
or there would be a.
There's already an arrow there. You already have a protected left turn where you get a green arrow to turn, so.
And then the actually right in is just a driveway into
They're just
that?
right in, right out. That's all, yeah, your access out of there is just a right out. You can only go right out. You can't go left.
All right, okay.
All right, once again, anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion that the, go, get a question?
Go ahead.
If it would be beneficial, I can certainly just read some of those conditions that we talked about. If
On the
you wanna make
previous?
that part of your motion. So the first condition that I referenced was regarding the stormwater, and that was at the time of development, the applicant shall construct a swale at the back edge of the landscape buffer on alternate key 103-1231. So that's the property adjacent to Oak Valley. To direct any runoff generated from the proposed improvements outside of the peripheral landscape buffers for collection and routing to the on-site stormwater pond. That came from the county or city engineer, and it was agreed to by the applicant.
Okay, these are the recommendations actually you want put in the.
Into the motion, yes,
In
sir.
the motion.
The staff recommendations,
Plus the new traffic study and
Kevin's comments.
The lighting.
the
Lighting, yes.
lighting.
So, I had a side shield shall be added to the westernmost light fixture. And then an updated traffic study shall be required to be reviewed and approved with any future site plans within the minor subdivision. So that would cover any additional development within the property.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr.
Yeah,
McCoy, take away.
I make a motion that the recommendations from staff be included into the motion, including a new traffic study for current and future development on the property. And I guess the lighting is horizontal? Is that what you're saying?
Vertical.
Vertical.
Calculation.
All right.
Just one point
Yeah.
of clarification. We're fine with the conditions, just the one item was on the transportation study. Eric, can you repeat that one more time for the record? On the transportation study? It's not for the current project, it'd be the
It's for the
future development.
Future ones.
It'd be
You've
for
The
already
future, I'm
done.
sorry, future.
Correct, and this is just my first shot at wording this, just because we got it on the fly here. An updated traffic study shall be required to be reviewed and approved with any future site plans within the minor subdivision. So the intent wouldn't be for this one, it's already been reviewed. It'd be for any, so for example, the piece on the corner of Oak Valley comes in, or the piece to the south of this. If they're proposing anything more than the 4,200 square foot medical office, then we would get a new traffic study for review
Okay,
and approval.
I'll just amend and say, new traffic study for future development.
That's good with me.
Done.
Thank you.
And now, sir, maybe you ought to, this is off the record, maybe you ought to see if they can put a coffee shop over on 561 and, no, really, you probably, and then probably add gas pumps to it and you'll probably get it done. But anyway, just a suggestion.
Duly noted,
Yeah,
Commissioner
all right.
McCoy. Duly noted, thank you.
All right, so from I understand, the motion is the motion to approve with with the staff comments, and with all Mr. Carey's comments to include a new traffic study upon any future development, new development being put in,
And the
Correct.
lighting.
and the lighting, well, all his comments essentially.
Right.
Yeah,
concerned.
true.
Okay. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Did you say aye?
I
Okay,
did,
good.
yes.
All right, motion carries, all in favor.
That was her. You probably didn't hear me. I'm usually the
All
quietest.
right.
Well, that depends, actually.
Any final public comments? Any final public comments? Going once, going twice. All right, Mr. Saunders, any council reports you wish to provide?
Not that I
Graced us
can
here with
think
your
of,
presence, so-
except that there's a memorial on the 11th of September at the gazebo on Lakeshore Drive at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
9/11/11, got it.
10 o'clock. and
Okay.
At 10
What
o'clock?
time is it?
10
10 or
o'clock.
11?
On 9/11 at 10.
9/11 at 10 o'clock
The gazebo.
to memorialize all the destruction that occurred in Twin Towers.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. All right, it is,
I
what
know.
time is it?
29.
It is 8:29, meeting's adjourned. Oh, can I make a motion to adjourn? Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
We're anxious to get out of here.
Coffee after that, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Jack Daniels.
Or is that liquor store?
I think
We'll
I'll
just go to
go
the
home and do that.
We don't need a liquor store.
Woodford Reserve.
I actually have to use it myself. I'm like, if we don't, I really, you know,